Hi Jenny, welcome to the Crystal Cabin, and thank you for agreeing to have this conversation about your Reiki journey with me today. As I've said in the past when we spoke with Keith, it's one thing for people to hear what's possible from me, but it sounds much more real if it actually comes from a person who's been on that journey and benefited from it. So welcome, and do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi Michelle, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I'm Jenny, and I came along initially as a customer. I first came upon angelic healing, if you like, when I came along to do a law of attraction course. That's how we first crossed paths, isn't it?
Right, yeah. So how long ago was that now, Jen?
It was a couple of years ago now. It was over 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you brought law of attraction into your life since then?
Absolutely, yeah, and it's definitely been a bonus in these lockdown times, that's for sure.
Excellent, brilliant. I remember that because I was actually hiring a room above the Rainbow Biz shop in Mould, and that was the first time. And from there, I think you came for an initial consultation and then ended up having the Reiki treatments. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so on the back of that, the law of attraction course, you gave us one of your leaflets promoting what else you did. And I saw Reiki, and I was interested in Reiki because I've done quite a bit of complementary therapies over the years, and just in terms of being a customer, I've been a massive fan of acupuncture.
Yeah.
I know the benefits of that. It's helped me with headache problems massively in the past. And so I've always had an interest in the complementary therapies. But Reiki was just something I used to sort of see written down somewhere, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what it was. And so just because I had the time on the hands and the curiosity and the fact that you did it, and I'd enjoyed my law of attraction course, I thought, well, I'll give the Reiki a try now. And
Yeah.
it was simple as that, really.
So how did you find your very first experience of Reiki? If you didn't know what to expect, were you a little bit apprehensive before you arrived? How did you feel?
Yeah, a little bit apprehensive, just in terms of first off, I was coming to your house this time, whereas when we did the law of attraction, we were in a venue with a group of people, and this time round it was just me coming to see you. So it was a different experience to the workshop course that we'd done. So it was a new experience, obviously coming along to your house, from when I stepped through the door, you just made me feel at home, made me feel welcome, and you know, you've got a lovely, I don't like saying the word treatment room, because treatment room is something
Sounds
that
very
happens.
clinical, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like something that happens when you go to the dentist or something.
Yeah.
But the room that you've got that you use for your various treatments, if you like,
Therapies.
including Reiki therapies, that's the word. The various things that you do, it's such a relaxing room, you know, and straight away just puts people at ease, I think, whatever they've been there for.
Yeah, I do get quite a lot of feedback about the environment because it's pretty unique, isn't it? It's at the top of a hill in a cottage. Yeah, and because I get a lot of people saying for the short amount of time that they're here, they feel they could have been anywhere. They've completely come away from their day-to-day busy environments to be looking out onto hills and stunning views with surrounded by fields and sheep, and that's already better than having to find somewhere to park, making sure you've got your pay and display, making sure you get somewhere on time, being in a building with other people where you can hear what's going on around you with traffic going past. And I never really thought about it like that. When I come up here, I was just so in awe of the peace and quiet and the environment and how it's really helped me in my well-being. I suppose I should have realized that that was going to be
It's definitely part
massive
of
plus.
the
Yeah.
experience for the customer as well,
Yeah,
definitely.
I've missed having people at the cottage throughout lockdown so much. If you think about it, I used to see what 3-4 people a day every day and into the evening, and you know I love talking. So it's been great having the group and having a purpose throughout the lockdown and being able to do the distance healing as well. But I can't wait to get back to having that face-to-face contact again as well. So okay, so we're in the therapy room, you're loving the environment, you've made to feel welcome, and then you got to get on the couch. So what happens then?
Yeah. So, and then you have to take your shoes off, and you do keep your clothes on for Reiki.
I'm glad you said that.
I've had to say that to a few people since I started myself. And you do get onto the treatment table, and you know, like I say, you know, you make people feel at ease. You've just got a natural vibe with people to make them feel at ease. So that was really nice and easy. And then you just sort of explained to me how the Reiki would the process, if you like, in terms of you're going to start at my head, work down to my feet, and yeah, I think I kind of probably tuned out by the time you told me that bit. So
yeah, Reiki is really hard to describe. I think you've got to experience it to get it. And most people will say the same. It's universal life force energy, and it's all about balancing our energy field, balancing the chakras, really. So it's a very light touch therapy that is not me necessarily doing the healing. The universal life force energy passes through me and to you. So a lot of people actually do it by hovering rather than hands-on. I quite like the connection. For me, as soon as I come close, it's zoom, and I can feel the energy between us. You know, everybody each to their own, but that's what I prefer to do. And yeah, I find by the time I'm in sort of like the third hand position, people are snoring. They've gone. They're fast asleep, and I love that, because that's the best feedback you could possibly get. You know, I've had a lady come with a young boy, 12, bless him, lovely lad. He hadn't slept for about 18 months. He'd be getting bullied. He'd had a lot of anxiety. He didn't want to go to school, wouldn't go to the after school clubs. God, poor lady was at her wit's end. And she just said, he won't relax. That's it, she put it out there. He won't relax. And I was like, well, let's see. I didn't want to put that in his head. Within a few minutes, he was snoring, and she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it. But that's just how relaxing a Reiki session is, isn't it? It's really difficult to explain. And do you see, when you do Reiki, then when you receive Reiki, what kind of experience? Do you get colours? Does your mind wander off?
I was just going to say, I don't think I snored when I had my Reiki, did I? I don't remember.
I can't remember. Everybody's different.
No, what I remember from my Reiki, the main sort of takeaway from me was, you know, like you just explained, it is so deeply relaxing, and I think because we know, as I understand now after having done the courses, about that blocked energy, you kind of just get a sense of, it's like something comes up to the surface almost. And for me, I remember giggling, and you saying to me something like at the end, saying like, well, I don't know what you were laughing at, but you're having a good old giggle there. And I can sort of remember, it's like when you, that saying where you sort of step out of yourself while something's happening, and I can remember feeling myself giggling, and it was like a giggling release or something.
Yeah.
And I had all these sort of pictures in my mind. I know people talk about auras and colours and things. It wasn't any of that for me, but it was like it was like I don't want to say a film, but you know when you get a movie trailer and it sets these things up of how the film might be, that's kind of how these images were in my mind, and I knew exactly where I was. But the thing that was playing out, the way it was represented for me, was just like such a I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's
but
hard to explain. Yeah,
just really, really like you've just but a really sort of uplifting, positive sensation. And you know, I think because like anything, if you're in a relaxed state, even if you've nodded off on the train or something, your mind still wanders. And but Reiki is just a different type of thing. It's just can't explain it.
Reiki.
It's one of those things, you have to do it to appreciate it.
Yes, and I think everybody would say the same. It's different for everybody every time, and I think as long as you come in as being open and with no expectation, then you you can't go wrong, because if you think about it too much or try too hard, you're actually blocking the flow. So you're not likely to have quite the same experience as you would be if you were, come at me, yeah, take it away. So the thing with Reiki, it will release emotions that have been stored in the body for some time without you having to talk about it or go into detail or recall that traumatic experience if it was traumatic. We're all very good at suppressing our emotions and pushing things down and kind of going, I'm all right, I'm all right, I'm all right, give me a minute, don't be nice to me. And that's the worst thing you can do. You know, we're built with this innate emotional guidance system that you hear me talking about all the time. And that's for a purpose. That's for you to cry when you're upset, to be laughing when you're happy, you know, and feel fantastic when things are going well. It's not to be ignored. But over time, we've had this conditioning of be a big girl, stop crying, man up, all these things that have just taken us completely away from how we are actually designed to work over time. And it's nobody's fault. Everybody that's passed that down in paradigms has been victims of victims. This has been going on for a long time. It's not something new. But the beauty of the Reiki is that it will release all those emotions during the session, and they will dissipate off into the universe and be transmuted back into positive energy. And you don't need to know what it was. I never really give a diagnosis at the end. There's no printout. If you know, if you trust that the Reiki will go where it needs to go and do what it needs to do, and we just get out of the way and allow. It's about allowing the flow. Then brilliant, it's gone. Why would you want to draw attention to that at the end? Bringing it back to you subconsciously. You know, my belief in the law of attraction, energy goes where attention flows. So if we've just let go and released in the session and off it's gone and trusted it to the universe, why would you bring that back to the core to bring it all up again? Yeah, so it's lovely to talk about the experiences when people say, oh, I saw, well, everybody's different, but I saw colours, or my nan came through, or I felt floaty, or gosh, there's so many different things, isn't it? People have all different experiences. That is enough to have something tangible, that something did just happen, to release how you were feeling. And some people sleep for hours. I've had ladies ring and say, I slept 17 hours after that. It's like, well, you must have needed it. You know, you've released whatever tension was going on in your body to inhibit your sleeping patterns. And you know, you must drink plenty of water. The worst thing you can do is go away after a Reiki and do a gym session or a drinking session, you know, or watch some aggressive film at the cinema. It's being gentle with yourself. The session continues, it stays with you. So it's very difficult to explain that you do have to have a session to get it. And the more sessions that you have, the more is dissipating into off to the universe, the more you're releasing. It's each time is a different experience, and because you know what, after the first time you know what to expect, or you've got an idea of, you know, it's not your first time, so you know, oh yeah, just leave her to it. It becomes a deeper session with each session. And you can never have too much Reiki. You can never have too much Reiki. But then you got so much benefit from it, Jen. You decided to come on the courses. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I had my first Reiki session, and I can't explain with the words what it was. You have to do it to appreciate it. But I definitely took something away from it, and I thought, wow, there's something in this. And it sparked my curiosity to just learn more about it. So when I saw that there was a workshop offered, and it was yourself that was doing it, so I just thought, well, yeah, okay, I'll go and find out more about it. How did this one Reiki session just make me feel so so energized, and so you know, like you say, good night's sleep and all the rest of it. And I thought, well, you know, let's go on this workshop and just explore it. You know, I enjoyed that Reiki session, so let's go find out more about it. So that's what took me on the first session, and from that first session, obviously learning that it's something that, you know, you can practice Reiki on yourself.
Yeah.
And you can, at level 1, you can practice on your friends and family as well. So, you know, that was something for me as a takeaway, and to practice those Reiki, practice the hand movements, and we started to talk about the chakras and learn about the chakras, and the corresponding conditions and things, and you talk about a body dis-ease and the corresponding things to that Reiki, and learning how you know, what the chakra, gone from, well, what's a chakra, to learning what chakras are, you know, and understanding that, and how the sort of connection, how people have different conditions and things. And if you do understand something about Reiki and you start to learn about the chakras, you get to have an appreciation of why people do get so much to take away from their Reiki sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. The Reiki level 1, it's amazing that you came for the workshop straight after having a session. Some people, I mean, I did when I was having Reiki, I did Reiki for years before I decided to book the workshop, and you've decided to go straight in there, so fair play, Jen. You know, oh, what was this experience? I need to know more about it. That shows your inquisitive personality, that you needed to analyze and understand. Take my hat off to you. But you know, the self-healing, Reiki level 1 is all about self-healing, and that's what I wanted it for back all those years ago. For me, it was quite a dark time in my life, and I found the Reiki sessions really made a difference to me emotionally with the what I was dealing with in my personal life. But I found doing the Reiki level 1, the actual moment where the energy is passed through to you, made a massive difference to just my whole outlook after that. The attunement itself just seemed to make things more, it's like an awakening, a weird enlightenment. You do feel more spiritual, don't you? You see, you just appreciate nature and the animals and the feeling of happiness and joy. And oh wow, it was life-changing. I would say for me, Reiki level 1, where I was at the time, was absolutely life-changing. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. And I think that like in these lockdown times, you know, especially at the beginning, everybody was sort of noticing the quietness and the calmness, and we had the, you know, the goats taking over in Llandudno and things like that. Everybody was noticing what was going on with nature. And you know, I've kind of, since getting involved with the Reiki, the way I notice nature more has changed. I've always appreciated living in North Wales and having the countryside, but getting involved with Reiki sort of made me appreciate those birds singing more, appreciate the changing of the scenery and going from the seasons to autumn to winter and spring and summer, and seeing those differences. And one of the takeaways for me, because I'm a walk leader, that's kind of a natural you know, connection for me. So it's added to that side of things for me as well, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I noticed for myself it was the connection in nature with calibrating your breathing. It was to releasing stress. It was you were feeling that fresh air was running right through your body, making a massive difference and calming you right down. It is connection, isn't it? It's very
is. And when you're outside, when you're away from like the hustle and bustle of city centre environments, and you're in the countryside, such as your setting for this, you know, you can't help but take in what's around you and take in your surroundings, and Reiki definitely makes you appreciate them more. And I think that, like you say, with your breathing, and one of the things that I like is just being in nature. I just sometimes go, especially in lockdown, be in the back garden and just go and sit on the decking barefoot and sit with my feet in the grass. I'm not doing anything else other than that. But it's just something about, and I think it was you that told me about being grounded and being at one with nature. It's very sort of calming effect on you. And so if you've seen so much on the news, and it can be a bit overwhelming of late, you know, with everything that's gone on, just going and sitting, feet on the grass barefoot, for me, is just a real nice thing to sort of bring that focus back in, and
Yeah.
really calms you down.
Be present. Yeah, I did that this morning. I love putting the washing out in the sunshine or the fresh air barefoot. I will kick my, well, I'm usually in flip-flops or bare feet anyway, but just to go, as soon as I come down the steps in the garden, hit the grass, because there's stone patio to begin with, then flip-flops are off, and I'm hanging the washing out in my bare feet, and then I'll sit on the grass, because then for me that's the base chakra connected to the earth, and in alignment with the sunshine coming right through my body. And that's a meditative state, just enjoying those few minutes of peace and quiet, feeling grounded and connected, and it brings you right back down. Brilliant for anxiety. Reiki is probably above all else for anxiety. Reiki is probably right up there. I've had so much success and great feedback with people who talk about anxiety all the time now, don't we, and mental health and well-being, but that people struggle with catching their breath, and it's difficult to say to somebody, take a deep breath, when they've gone, they can't get their breath, whereas the Reiki just brings them right back down to that point where they can breathe, and the energy will flow, and they do feel calm and relaxed, and it's very
if you do
peaceful.
feel yourself getting worked up and getting anxious and that, it's putting that focus back on the breathing. It's putting your focus into a better place than what you were feeling anxious about, and so concentrating on your breathing definitely helps you to take stock of what's going on. I find.
And it's obviously, I'm a hypnotherapist as well, so I like to make that connection with your thought processes. What you're thinking about subconsciously is bringing up, and it's affecting your breathing and your energy flow. So it's a great combination to be obsessed with the law of attraction, understanding how the subconscious mind works, and an energy healer. I think the three things together I bring into my teaching, so that everybody understands what's going on in the body, not just this is how you do Reiki.
You don't pigeonhole them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing of the most I've got out of teaching Reiki 1 more recently, I would say in the last 18 months, or the last half of this year, is people realizing that they don't have to go on and be a practitioner. Reiki 1 is for healing yourself. It's for your family, your friends, your pets, your food, your water, and your plants, so even if for yourself you don't particularly feel that you need it, but you have a child that's troubled, or somebody in your family, perhaps you're a carer for an elderly member of the family, being able to heal yourself from having that responsibility, but pass that healing on to your family member, is precious. So, and I got that interest really built up with that, because it was a new thing, really. It's still the Reiki Level 1, you still qualified the energy, you still got the attunement, still exactly the same course. But I ended up separating people who did want to be a practitioner from people who want it for themselves and their family, because it's a different conversation altogether, isn't it? It's, if you're a practitioner, you're a therapist, more than likely already a therapy in a different healing modality, so you have a different mindset of why you're learning Reiki. But if you're coming for yourself and your own personal trauma, or your family, the need to help somebody else that's having trauma that's upsetting you, you might not want to have that conversation to somebody who seems really on point and is a therapist and wants to know all the science part of it. So I run the two courses separately now, but Reiki Level 1, I think it's really important to know that self-healing doesn't have to take hours. It's there when you need it, and it's all about intention. Do you want to talk about intention? How do you use intention?
Intention, I think that's been a big thing that I've used, if you like, during lockdown. Obviously lockdown has gone on for quite a while, maybe longer than some people might have anticipated at the beginning, and it's been an anxious, worrying time for people. And for me, what I found helps is even just like how we talk about gratitude and having an attitude of gratitude, and getting up in the morning, and if you can find 3 things to be grateful for, then that already puts you in a better place, you know. And if you think, right, I'm going to find 3 things to be grateful for today, you know, and it might just be sitting barefoot on the decking with my feet in the grass as one of them, being able to go for that daily walk. I've got the mobility to go for that daily walk, going out for that daily walk, and not worrying about a diet and just choosing something nice to have for me tea that night. They might be the 3 things that I do that are nice for me that day, and that will automatically, just knowing that you're doing those things for yourself, sets an intention to have a better day in itself.
And that's where we talk a lot also about the emotional scale, on how to move up your emotional scale, shifting your energy. So if you're already living in that attitude of gratitude, then instantly, because your body believes everything that we tell it, and you've done some healing as well, then wow, what a fabulous combination. I find the self-healing is really worth having for when you're just in that time for yourself, and you just put your hand on your heart and your solar plexus, just take a couple of deep breaths and just sit, and you can feel that energy flow, that Reiki flow, and it's like an instant saver. You know, it's not in a bottle, it doesn't come with a label, there's nothing negative about it, you can't do it wrong. Reiki is pure love and healing. It is pure love and healing. That the intention is always going to be a positive intention, to heal, to let go, to release, to love, to get you back up the emotional scale to your place of love and joy. I love Reiki. I live and breathe Reiki. I've had it in my life for such a long time, and I found that attunement made that much difference. And when it felt right for me, I did the level 2 again, not to be a practitioner. I wasn't ready to be a practitioner. It never entered my mind. I was working in the corporate world, single parent, far too busy and important for all this woo-woo. It was for my mental health and well-being. That attunement was going to make me even more connected and even more heightened awareness, and it did. And with the Reiki level 2, it's all about being able to give distance healing, isn't it? You came through for your level 2, Jen, as well, because you are now a practitioner.
And you know, like you're saying, when I'd done the level 1 initially, I didn't think straight off of, oh, I'm going to do this as a business. It wasn't my thought process. But again, I could see the benefits from doing the course, and also meeting the other people on the course, and we sort of all shared a little bit about why we were there and what we've got from Reiki so far, and that kind of thing, and that was really interesting to see other people's that J word journey with Reiki. But it is, you know, it is a journey. It's like when you learn anything new, you've got to go on that learning journey with it. And so it was interesting to see, you know, other people's experiences from that course as well. I kind of sparked my interest to want to do the level 2. Just as a continuation, a bit like what you were saying, really. And I never thought of it as in an offer with my business, but by coincidence, the previous year I'd started my own business, and I was, you know, out there to do health and safety and give mandatory advice and compliance. That's what I was about. But running alongside, I developed an interest in Reiki. And it was when we sort of done the level 1 course, and you know, you sort of said you can practice on friends and family, but I didn't do that straight away at all. I thought, no, I'm not bothered about that yet. You know, I was fascinated by it, and I was interested in the chakras and the corresponding like conditions on the body and how they relate to things and everything. But I wasn't thinking about doing it in any kind of business way. And then coming on the level 2, like I say, meeting the other people, it was really interesting for me. And I just thought, well, you know, you can practice on friends and family at level 1, but I waited till I'd done level 2. You know, I've got to go up a bit more before I'm ready that. So, you know, I tried to practice on my mum. I think I'd have had to have chased around the house. She wasn't having it. She wasn't interested. So, you know, I did do it on my dad when he was sat in the chair, because you don't have to be lying down, do you?
Yeah.
I did it on my dad and started the positions on his head, and I just done the head positions, but went to put my hands on his shoulder and proper asleep.
Oh, bless.
Well,
That's really good.
maybe that's all he needed, and I'll leave it
Yeah.
there for you type of thing. But then I asked a couple of friends, you know, who were brave enough to say, yeah, okay, you can practice on me. One of them had had Reiki before, got nothing from it. She'd been told about auras and colours and everything. And so when she had her Reiki experience, she was a bit sort of disappointed, because everybody told her she'd get all that.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me have a practice. We'll see. You know,
Yeah.
she really was my first victim, as she said, if you like.
Victim.
First recipient of Reiki. But no, seriously, she really, you know, got something from it as well. And she'd had a Fitbit on, and it brought her heart rate down. She knew what it was before, she could see what it was after.
Great.
And like, well, if nothing else, I can see what this has actually done for me, you know.
Yeah.
And so she felt really calm and relaxed at the end of it. And so that person told someone about their experience, and that led to someone else saying, oh, you can practice your Reiki on me. And that was equally another very different experience. And you know, you talk about when people have passed away, and sometimes people do seek Reiki to reconnect with people, and so that was a different experience again. And I think when it happened, I phoned you and I was like, oh, Michelle, I've just done Reiki, and this was the experience, and we had a chat about it, because I thought, well, the only person who'll be able to relate to what I'm saying is somebody like yourself, who's done lots of Reiki with lots of people in lots of different settings and that. And so it was reassuring for me to know that Reiki experience was quite a normal experience when someone has sadly lost someone. So, and then that sort of sparked my more of an interest, because I didn't really know that side before. And then since then, I've you know, been able to get involved with my local hairdressers. I was chatting to her, a throwaway conversation, telling her about the Reiki journey, if you like, so far. And she said, oh, the way you'll be going, you'll be looking for a treatment room, you know. And her treatment room was available, so it just seemed like a conversation we had to have.
Yeah.
I did a trial couple of weeks there, and it went okay. So I started doing Reiki from a hairdresser's, and then I was put in touch with somebody through Business Wales who had a treatment room in a premises in Wrexham called Balance Wellness, and they were looking for people to use their treatment room. So Business Wales introduced us to each other. I was invited along to one of their open weekends and did some mini Reiki sessions, a little bit like the mini session I did with my dad, if you like.
Yeah.
And got some lovely feedback again. And so I was invited to use their treatment room, and it sort of carried on from there. And we were just sort of getting into the stride of it as we went into lockdown.
Yeah, typical. Yeah, the universe has its way, doesn't it? Absolutely. That's an amazing story, to come from joining a law of attraction workshop to booking a Reiki out of curiosity, to finding it really did something for you and want to know more about it and doing the session, to bang, now you're in a wellness centre offering Reiki as treatments as a practitioner. I'm really proud of you, Jen. That's amazing. You've done really well. Really, really well. We need to get you on your master teacher. So you've got another achievement.
Next on my list. Obviously, we've always got law of attraction. We've always got those goals and those visions. And master teacher was something at the beginning of this year of like, right, what goals do I want for myself?
Yeah.
And I put Reiki Master on there, definitely. So when times allow.
When we're allowed, yeah. We can do that one-to-one anyway. You don't need to be in a group for that, so you don't need to wait for an event. Fantastic. Love doing the journey with somebody. I've got quite a few people, I don't like to call them students, that have come through all the way through, either are practitioners or not practitioners, or the therapists, and they use it combined in their businesses, or people that have just come for themselves, or people that use it just for their families. But the more attunements you have, the different experience it is. So for me, I just turned into an attunement junkie. I've been attuned to everything. I'm now Angelic healer, which is completely different, but that's for another day. But the attunements, they're life-changing. That, you know, even if you're never going to be a practitioner, it's or going to be a teacher, just being at the master level and having that additional attunement, it makes a massive difference to your Reiki experience, your Reiki journey, personally, and for your clients as well. But you don't kind of map that out. That happens when you're ready. You know, I did my Reiki Master Teacher years and years ago, and did nothing with it again. Isn't it funny? It was for me, and it, you know, I just felt that until I'd healed, I wasn't in a position to be able to offer healing. And
Yeah.
you're never completely healed. You know, every day you have to work on yourself. It's all about taking that action. But if your mindset is, the intention is to be able to give love and healing, then you're already there, you know. And you can do with your distance healing, it's the intention. You can send it back to a previous experience to send that love, and you can send it ahead. If you had a big event coming up, it was an interview or an application for a position at uni, or anything, any speaking event, anything that might take you out of your comfort zone, you can actually intend Reiki to go ahead to the future experience, and that gives you some kind of peace of mind and comfort. It's almost like you're floating in, you've got it. And that again is another law of attraction, kind of being in the right emotion state.
Reframing your thinking about it, isn't it? If something's happened in the past, you know, the past is the past, but you can go back with Reiki, and you can reframe how you see that situation, definitely, and reduce what might have once been an anxiety up there for you about something. And it's past and it's happened, you can't change it, but the way you feel about it is something that you can change. And I think Reiki definitely, and law of attraction combined, they give you those tools to be able to reframe your thinking about some things that might have once had an anxiety up there for you, and it brings it down there. And it's not a magic fix, it's not a magic, but it's something that it's like a toolbox, and once you've got those tools, you can use them and reuse them and build on them and work on them, and it definitely enhances your perception of things.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Add into your toolbox, and once you've got them, you've got them. That's absolutely true. I've had quite a few people that have done Reiki many years ago and wanted to book in to do it again. So when you ask the question, why Reiki, what's brought you, you know, what's your interest? Oh, I did it years ago, but I've done nothing with it. You know, once you've been attuned, you've been attuned. You don't need to pay for that attunement again. And that, it drives me mad, because I did, you know, years and years ago, I did my level 2 twice. And you don't need to. So I deliberately now make sure, before anybody leaves any of my sessions, they've had loads of hands-on practice, they know what they're doing, they're confident, they know they can come back to me anytime if they're having a wobble. You know, once I'm your Reiki Master Teacher, I'm your Reiki Master Teacher. But also, I've lost my train of thought, sorry. No, that's it. I offer a refresher. I'm a bugger for digressing, aren't I? I deliberately offer a refresher course for people to come and sit in on a course, or everybody there is on a refresher. I've done that as well. And it's what was the next position, and it just comes back to you. So they go away with a fresh manual with level 1 and 2, what we would cover in the course. They just don't have their attunements, and they've gone on to be confident, more successful, and a few more tools in the box, because they've picked up on law of attraction and emotional guidance as well along the way. But the best thing I've been able to do in lockdown is give distance healing. You know, I've done more distance healing this year than I've done in God, 15 years. It's been incredible. and that's a new way forward for both my business and for people to realize that they don't have to be in the room to receive a healing. If you've got that intention, you've got the connection. You know, I was doing the twice weekly distance healing on a Thursday for the NHS and the key workers, and Sunday for everybody else, and their feedback has been absolutely incredible, and it has been a beautiful experience, and we've made some great connections and great relationship friendships built from it as well, because, you know, for me it's great to be able to help from a distance, but also for people to know that they can have help from a distance as well. It gives me that wider audience as well, which is super. But I heal in residential homes, as you probably know, the dementia and the complex ailments, and they've had the one particular that I spend a lot of time in, or did do, they were hit bad with COVID, and I lost quite a lot of my residents. So the residents that remain, shall we say, are very anxious, and I've been able to do over the telephone, so they feel that they can hear my voice, they know they're used to me, they feel comforted in the right environment, and do a healing session for them in the residential home has been incredible, an incredible experience for both of us to be able to give that. It's a gift, and it's a pleasure and a joy to be, I'm getting emotional, to be able to give that love and reassurance and comfort to somebody who's in that kind of panic or that kind of state, or pain. I've done a lot with pain as well. Distance healing is incredible, and I'm doing more of that. Now the lockdown hasn't stopped us being able to help, and I think that's another part of being in the Reiki journey.
That I sort of, you know, you mentioned sometimes, you know, if somebody's having a wobble, and in these lockdown weeks, I did have about a week and a half of a wobble, if you like.
You've done well with just a week and a half.
I felt a bit withdrawn and a bit didn't feel right at all in myself, and just everything going on, a little bit overwhelmed with umpteen different things. And I just thought, right, well, I can't, you know, you've just been talking about distance healing, which I think is lovely to hear that, but I've not done any distance healing prior to lockdown, so I'd not had any experience of it. So I didn't feel comfortable suddenly offering it in lockdown. And so I just thought, well, while Reiki is sort of firmly parked up for lockdown, you know, yes, I can do Reiki on myself and definitely use it and apply the law of attraction techniques. Absolutely, it massively made a difference with the attitude of gratitude and everything. But I thought, you know, what can I do from a Reiki point of view? And I thought I might not be able to do any Reiki at the moment, but I can certainly talk about it. And so that's what led to me sort of having the idea of doing and everybody jumping onto videos and things, but I didn't feel particularly comfortable with doing that. And so I thought, I don't feel like I want to leap onto a video and talk about it, but I do know I can talk about it. I came up with the idea for doing a podcast.
Fantastic.
You had a little freeze frame then, but you're back.
Oh yeah, it was only a little while.
I came up with the idea of doing a podcast that's out there now called Reiki Adventures, and I've just been supporting businesses, initially businesses that are involved with balance, wellness and Wrexham, and just as a way of keeping a little bit of a connection going between them, really.
That's fabulous.
I had a chat with the guy who does the gong baths there, because I
listened to that one. Yeah, great.
And it was really, really good to catch up with him, and explain to people what gong baths were, because when I say to people, oh, I went for a gong bath the other week, they're like, a what? You know. So it was really great to get the information from him, to understand what a gong bath is and what it can do for people, which was lovely. That was the first episode, and I've just done one now with my hairdresser, and some people might think, hairdresser, what's that got to do with Reiki? But yes, they were the person where I started my Reiki in their treatment room. But the reason why I did it was because, and you talking about care homes and that, then I've never thought about how hairdressers are actually, you know, we can go for practical reasons because we want to get our roots done or get it trimmed or whatever. But it's also, what it gives to people when they go to that
Oh
hairdresser
yeah,
to get
yeah,
their hair done, because especially if they're a carer, because that might be their only little treat that they give to themselves for the week.
yeah.
And I'd never
That's
seen it
space.
like that before. And so it really sort of changed my perception. And, you know, all these people longing for the hairdressers to open, you know, and in the grand scheme of things, some people might think, oh, that's way down there, you know, in terms of the priorities and things we need to do. But it changed my thinking, and especially talking to somebody who's been a hairdresser their whole life. And it's so nice that that person's got a job that plays a part in making people's day just that little bit better, and they
Yeah,
go out the door with a smile on their face, and that's no bad thing at the end of the day, you know. And
yeah.
so I've really sort of changed my perception of how I perceive hairdressing really now.
I think we all have missed our hairdressers so much
Yeah, you don't
during
realise how
life.
talented they are until you try and do this. And it
I've
was
had to go back to having curly hair because it's been so crazy to try and control it. So I've
yeah,
given up. But yeah, absolutely miss my hairdresser so much. I think we'll all be being so much more appreciative of loads of things on
yeah,
reflection. You know,
yeah,
things that may have felt important to us previously may not be as important going
yeah,
forward.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
been allowed that time of pause. And if you go back on my Facebook page, right at the beginning, I put a post on about I believe this to be the universe and Mother Earth conspiring to take control because we were ruining the planet.
Mm,
And they've gone, right, you're not listening to us, you're not listening to your body, so we're going to take control and just stopped everything. And I like to think that along those paths that the earth has healed, and we've all been able to appreciate our own thoughts, our own feelings, emotions, our connections with our family, people that we love, people that we've missed. And I'm hoping that, you know, we won't be considered so woo-woo in the future,
yeah.
because
I think people
people
are
are,
starting to have that shift, aren't they? And they're
yeah,
starting to think about self-care, and you know, just, you know, I've seen things out there promoting people concentrating on their breathing,
yeah,
guided meditations and things like that. And those things were there, always there before, but many people never noticed them because they were too busy. But
yeah,
those people that are too busy are the very people who would get the most from getting a
that's
little bit
right.
woo woo
Yeah,
and
yeah,
learning about it, because there's so much to take away for your own toolbox, you know. And if you're looking after you, as you say, you are enough, you know. If you're looking after you, then that enables you to look after others when you need to as well.
yeah. It's you. So many people struggle with putting themselves first. And this is my emphasis. You are the most important person in your world. Oh, you know, and I was just as bad for being last on my own list. You know, single parent for 12 years, corporate, really responsible position, head wrecked from 2 divorces, got 2 under the patio. There was a lot going on in my younger self, and I didn't have time for any of this woo-woo rubbish, you know. And look how my life was transformed by, I had a minor car accident, and I swear to God that was the universe slowing me down. It wasn't anything major, but my body did take the impact, and that was the first time ever I'd been forced to take some time off. And it was, nothing helped, absolutely nothing helped. I'd had massage, acupuncture, physiotherapy, you name it. And somebody said to me, have a Reiki. And I'm like, oh, what? As we see people do that now. And I never looked back. And it wasn't just that it helped with the pain and the whiplash, and it was what it did for me emotionally as well. Because I was wound up like a coil, always on the go, like a whirlwind. Mum calls me a whirlwind. And that, those sessions were able, and that time off was no accident. There's no such thing as coincidence. That was the universe taking control of me, going, right, we're going to slow you down and give you time to reflect. That was my pause time. And I think this lockdown has been that pause time for a lot of people that are in that corporate, crazy, chaotic world as well. So yeah, I think there's we're there, we're available, we're able to help and support happily. And the beauty of it is every time you have somebody and give them Reiki, well, you don't give Reiki, you don't do Reiki, you are Reiki, but every time you have a Reiki session, we get the healing too. So it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I noticed first of all about Reiki when I started doing it as a Reiki practitioner, was the feedback that I got from people. And it was so nice. And, you know, so many different people's different ages, different circumstances, backgrounds, etc., etc. And the reason for coming for Reiki was, you know, a variety of reasons for Reiki sort of thing, but the feedback that I got from each and every one of them, you know, was absolutely lovely, you know. And it's the feedback that I've had from individuals after a Reiki session, either directly afterwards or a couple of days later, and it's that feedback that makes me think, yeah, that's why I want to carry on doing Reiki. And I know the benefits that I got from my initial Reiki session with you, so it's great that I've now learned those skills, if you like, to pass forward to someone else, you know.
Yeah, I love that, Jen.
Most of all.
That just makes me so happy to hear. There's nothing I love more than to share my skills and knowledge to help people share again. And my dream on my vision board that was beginning before lockdown, because I've got so much from healing in the residential homes, so much. They're so grateful. It's a completely different experience. It's incredible, emotional. I'm just one person with one pair of hands. So I would love to be able to do is, as I bring people through my training and development to get to master teacher level, to then have a little army of angelic healers going into all the residential homes offering healing, or anywhere, but as associates of angelic healing. So I'm empowering people to be and mentoring people to be self-employed in their own businesses, just under the umbrella of angelic healing as part of my team, if you like, my little army of healers, a little tribe, I would like to say, a tribe of light. So that's my vision for the future, especially now. I'm an angelic Reiki Master Teacher. I'm ready to teach angelic healing. Probably be next year now. Just another course up that I want to do. Like you, want to know all the information before I go doing it. But yeah, Reiki is a journey, and it's amazing, life-changing, incredible experience, and I recommend it to anybody. And I live, breathe, sleep, eat, drink Reiki. And even though I'm angelic Reiki healer now, I will always have traditional Usui Reiki in my blood, because that was my journey and it changed my life. And it's, you know what, this conversation, Jen, I think we could talk for hours and hours and hours.
I know. I just noticed in the time, yeah, we just chat. I think you'll have to come on my podcast as a guest.
Yeah,
you
I'd
know,
love to.
come
Absolutely love to. The more people that we can share this with, the better. You know, it's only ever going to be a positive thing. There's nothing negative about Reiki, nothing. Pure love and healing. So that's what the world could do with right now. So
definitely.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting my sleeves rolled up, ready for when them doors are opening, to help as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I'm so proud of you, Jen. Just listening to you talking so confidently from the very first time that we met, and you were dead shy. You just used to, you were like me, actually, blush when the attention goes on. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass you. I love listening to your story of where you are now. Fantastic. Keep it going. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on this conversation from the Crystal Cabin for the group to share your story with people.
Invited me. It's been lovely, and next time I come up, I will have to come inside the Crystal Cabin, because I've just not been in it yet, have I?
Is it? It's mad, isn't it? Because I actually started in here.
Or something. You were doing something practical with it when I first came, I think.
Well, when we first moved up here, this was my little she shed, but it was always going to be for my healing, because obviously coming up here, I'd left what I had in Frodsham behind. So, and I did the same as you, with friends come up and, you know, practice and what have you. And then I got into the hypnotherapy, and I just grew out of it. Just grew out. As much as I love the cabin, at the time, it was my special little place, and I'd painted it all inside, and all my little fairy lights and Buddhas and butterflies and glitter, you know me for glitter, candles. God, it was a gorgeous space. I never wanted to go in. And then my friends started coming up, and then we started having a glass of wine in here, and everything went wrong. So when we moved into the house, this then became more of a, not a she shed, but a storage shed. So when lockdown came about and my son came home from the army and Dave wasn't working as much, instead of me having my lovely cottage in my house and peace and quiet to just me and the dogs, it was chaotic. I'm not used to that. I like peace and quiet. So I've come back in and I've given it a little bit of TLC. And you know what? I've really enjoyed being in here. I love it. I come in here, as you know, to do all my group conversations and my distance healing and the video consultations, and I think I'll keep that going. I've brought all my books in. I do my meditating in here.
Really nice addition to what you've got up there, definitely.
Yeah, I've got all my cards in here, so I'm going to be doing card reading soon as well, so watch this space. But yeah, let's go, because people watching will be thinking what they're talking about now. Take care, sweetheart. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.